If you'd like to invest once in your branding and marketing and reap the rewards for years to come, stay tuned. This video is for you. Hi, my name is Andrea Reindl. I am a brand strategist and the founder of Legacy Creative. For more than a decade, my team and I have been behind multiple brands at a time, elbows deep in helping create customer journeys that create a sustainable and profitable business for our clients. Along the way, we've learned a few things, and today I'm going to talk about something that I am super passionate about that is called frequency and gestation in your branding, in your marketing. How do you create a sustainable marketing plan and a sustainable branding plan that works for you for years and years and years to come? Now, a lot of people that make their money from selling information fail to mention this very frequently in their marketing because it's not a very sexy message to say, hey, you're going to invest some money right now, you're going to work really hard for a year, and you'll eventually get to reap the rewards. That wouldn't be the world's best sales message, would it? So very frequently what I see is that when people like authors and speakers and trainers are trying to build a business, they hear from other authors and speakers and trainers, wow, you can do this work and make all this money in a really short period of time. Which isn't exactly entirely true because the law of gestation comes into play. Now, if we were to put this into human form, think about it this way. A natural human gestation period is 9 to 10 months. Most of us were gestated in our mummy's tummies for somewhere between 9 and 10 months, and at the end of that 9 to 10 months, out came a healthy baby. A dog, on the other hand, only needs 2 months gestation, and a rabbit only needs 1 month's gestation. We know in science that gestation takes time, and yet for some reason we forget that in business. We forget that it takes time from the time you plant the seed to the time you can harvest the fruit. And this is where I see so many clients have missed expectations about how long it takes from the time they put their marketing message out till the time that they can actually harvest the results of their marketing message. So today I'm going to share with you our frequency formula, how you can use it, and why it will help your business. At the end of the video, I'm going to give you 3 C's that help make it kind of easy to remember how to do this, and basically you'll be able to use this in your business after you've watched this video. One of the formulas we use on a regular basis that was taught to me by a mentor is that your reader, listener, viewer need to hear your message 3 times every 7 days for 90 days so that they can begin to remember who you are. So think about this. In your business, what that means is that your ideal clients need to hear from you 3 times a week for at least 3 months before they really start to remember who you are and how you can solve their problem. Which means for you as the visionary and for the marketing teams that support the visionary, it's really important that you get a consistent message and then you just continue to repeat it over and over and over and over again all the time. Recently, I was giving this presentation to a group of executives, and at the end of my presentation, one of the audience members put his hand up and he said, hey, I'm just curious, isn't it going to get very, very repetitive and boring if we're just saying the same thing over and over and over again? I smirked and I said to him, okay, so I'm curious, are you worried that it's going to be boring for your audience, or are you worried that it's going to be boring for you and your team saying the same thing over and over again? And after we talked for a little while, he said, well, I'm probably more worried that I'm going to be bored and my team is going to be bored saying the same thing over and over again, trying to explain our technology to our clients. And I said, well, that makes sense to me. It can be a little bit boring as the visionary and as the company, but trust me, it is not boring for your audience. And here's why. The reason it's not going to be boring for your audience is sometimes the first time they hear your message, they're not ready to buy. Maybe they're like 45 days away from making that buying decision, and right now they're just in research mode, which means they're looking for you online and they're looking at what you're doing, but really, they're not ready to buy yet. Or maybe they're wrapping up another project and they're starting to think about their next project and they just need a little bit of time to finish what they started before they start something new. Or maybe they're just in research mode and they're looking for what are their options to solve their problems. So if you're a service provider or a coach or business owner, or you have a book or anything like that, your clients are just in research mode and they're trying to figure out who they want to do business with in the long run, in which case they're still not ready to buy. So your job when you're in the marketing and branding department is to make sure that your campaigns are reaching your clients 3 times a week, every 7 days for a minimum of 90 days so that they know that you are the solution to their problem. Okay, to make my point again and make this a little bit fun, think of your buyers as bumblebees. They're out doing their thing, busy during the day, bumbling about, doing all the things they need to do. Every single person you do business with has other parts of their life that don't include doing business with you. They're running their kids to and from somewhere, they're taking transit to and from work, they're thinking about paying their bills, they're thinking about what are they having for dinner tonight, they're thinking about all the things that humans need to think about. So think about your clients almost like a bumblebee. And during the day, they're gonna go and do all the things that they need to do during the day. And your job as the branding and marketing department is to insert yourself into their life every week in a few places that make sense to them, that's relevant to them. So they might see you on Facebook and Instagram, they might go to your website and read a blog post, they might check your book out on Amazon, they might read an email from you that you send, like your newsletter. All of those count as touch points, as one of those 3 times that they need to see you every 7 days for 90 days. So it's really important that you pick a core message and you stick to it and you present it to them in different ways over and over again, 3 times every 7 days for a minimum of 3 months, so that they know that you are the solution to the problem that you solve. Also think of this, every time that little bumblebee buyer of yours needs to hit some place where you're their message, you want to give them a dopamine hit. You want to make them feel good. You want to make them feel understood. You want to make sure that they know that you care about them, that you have empathy for where they're at, and that you're making an emotional connection with them 3 times every 7 days for a minimum of 90 days. So here's the 3 C's that make sure that you're getting the most use out of your marketing efforts. Number 1, you want to be consistent in every way you possibly can. So that includes, what does your bio say? What are the photos you're using? How are you communicating your message? What are you saying that you do for people? What is your title? Every single place where your little bumblebee buyer could possibly see you, think about, are you sending a consistent message? The more consistent you are across all platforms, the easier it is for your buyers to remember you. Now, the really simple thing with this about being consistent is just make sure your brand is in alignment with who you are, and then just be you everywhere you show up, consistently, all the time. The second thing you want to be is clear as often as possible. There's a lot of times that branding and marketing wants to get clever or kitschy or interesting, or they want to say the same thing in a way that's kind of confusing. Try not to do that. Try to be as clear as possible for your ideal prospects and clients so that they know what problem you solve for them, and they know that when they're ready to make that buying decision, to come to you and to buy from you. Every little interaction you have with them, all of those 3 times per week, every 7 days for 90 days, think about putting a gentle and a soft call to action in it. So maybe it's a like and subscribe. Or maybe it's a, hey, when you're ready, here's 3 ways you can work with me. I'm happy to serve you. Or maybe it's just simply like, get on my email list and stay in touch because I'm going to continue to provide more value. When you start to think of your customers as bumblebees that are going to float around for 90 days before they're even ready to begin to think about doing business with you, then you start to think about a long-term relationship you can build with your customers. And the clearer you are, the more likely they are to trust you. Finally, be compelling. Yep, you need to be interesting. Tell stories that are relevant to them. Make sure that you're framing any message that you have in what's in it for them. Always be thinking about who is your ideal client and how can you serve them in the best way possible. Compelling is one of those things I find my clients often want to be first. They're like, hey, I want to be clever and kitschy and compelling. Well, the thing is, if you're consistent and clear, compelling comes naturally. Compelling means you're showing your audience that you understand them. You want to make them feel like you get them and that you connect with them. Remember, 3 times every 7 days for a minimum of 90 days is how long it takes for a message to stick. If you can just remember the law of gestation and the law of frequency in your business, you will start to build a brand that is sustainable, that is long-term, and that works. This formula pays off, and I know it because I've watched it for more than a decade with clients. Just like compounding interest, compounding influence pays off. Thanks for watching. Thanks for giving me your time. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe. Be sure to ring the bell so you know the next time we drop a video. We're happy to connect with you, and have a great day.